All right, it's 3 p.m. Good afternoon, everyone. A very warm welcome to today's panel discussion brought to you by the HR Association of India. At HRAI, our mission is to create platforms that connect, inspire, and empower professionals through meaningful conversations and shared learning. On behalf of HRAI, I extend a warm welcome to all our participants to today's discussion on this insightful topic Future of Work 2030. What organizations must do today. First and foremost, our heartfelt thanks to our esteemed speakers for joining us today and contributing their valuable perspective to this panel discussion. Dr. IVS Ranganath, CHRO at Propolite Foods, Mr. Nitin Parikh, President at Zydus Life Science Limited, Dr. Satish S. Doifure, ex-Vice President, RPMG IT and Automation at Reliance Industries Limited, Mr. Arnab Roy, CFO at Maruti Suzuki India Limited, and Mr. Sudipto Mandal, Chief CHRO and Head Human Resources at L&T Metro Rail Limited, Hyderabad. We are truly honored to have such accomplished leaders with us, bringing their expertise and experience to today's discussion. To know more about our speakers, you may follow them on LinkedIn. Their profiles have been shared in the chat window. For more information about HRA and our upcoming events, please refer to the links shared in the chat. Now it's my pleasure to introduce our moderator for today's session, Mr. Sudipto, and invite him to take over as we move into this insightful and engaging discussion. Over to you, Mr. Sudipto.
Thank you, Faisal. Thank you, Faisal. It has always been a pleasure to be a part of HR Associations of India's events. I think you guys are doing a great job in terms of providing values to the fraternity. Now, I'm extremely privileged today because I have an eminent, thought leaders as a part of the panelists. They are not only just eminent, they're well experienced and the rich experience in their respective fields. And I'm also quite happy to see that this panel is not having a similar kind of profile. The diversity is very high. We have CFO, we have business heads, we have IT heads, we have HR heads. So I'm sure with the rich decades of experiences people are having, they will bring in their expertise here, and it will going to help the participants. I see there are about 20 people, they have already joined in. So it's an webinar. So I know there are certain limitations, but within that itself, I'll just still try to engage the audiences. Audiences may not be able to speak right now, but I'll give a task along with the panelists. So I'll request all of you to close your eyes. It will take just about 3 minutes. Close your eyes. Wherever you are, participants, you can also do that. Now, today is a Thursday, middle of the week, and it's the afternoon. Now, imagine you are sitting in 2035, 10 years, almost 10 years ahead of time. Now, you don't know, I'm not going to tell where are you, but you imagine that it's the middle of the week, working day, so you must be working from where I don't know, where you probably also don't know, but there is no limit to your imagination. Just imagine the physical place where you are, because your body has to be there somewhere. And imagine first that for a few seconds. And then how do you visualize your day? Today, let's imagine it's the morning. So you have the whole day ahead of you. How do you imagine your day at work? What are the things you are going to do? Think for 2 minutes, and not more than 3 crisp bullet points. I'm going to request the panelists to share their thoughts. And participants, you please see that the thoughts that you have been having in your imagination while you closed your eyes, how far that is matching with the panelists' thoughts.
Yeah, I imagine Sudipto.
Hi.
Yeah,
Just
we can
give some
start.
time
Sudipto.
for others to think. I think
Okay.
participants are still thinking. Okay, so maybe now I just open the forum. Maybe any of the panelists, if you can share what are the three things which kind of came out crisply as you visualize, envisage your day at work in 2035.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks for asking this very thought-provoking opening remark, Sudipto. I just want to answer my imagination. In fact, I'm struggling to find out my space now in 2030. So what I could found that, this work has no longer a place, actually. It's an outcome. That's what I'm thinking. And because of my moving, shifting from space to space, pillar to pillar, I'm also imagining customer sites and also a lot of AI-enabled virtual workspaces I'm seeing that now. And I'm also found out that, AI is my co-pilot and is not my competitor now.
No,
So
how do you see your day?
yeah, that's what I'm thinking that I'm visualizing my day like this. There is no routine tasks and everything is fully automated now. I don't know what to do. And I'm also thinking that, most of the decisions are happening in a real time. I could see a lot of dashboards appearing in each and every leadership boardrooms. And I could see that a lot of people are working in a very, learning in embedded work. It is not like that. There is no space allocated for training. Everybody is busy with learning something new, which is not roti from their routine. Even the finance guys looking some kind of technology, and R&D people are trying to understand how the market space look like. So I think a lot of which which I never predicted. These things are happening in my workspace right now. So the biggest shift, what I could say, I just conclude this. I could see a lot of creativity, a lot of collaboration. Everything is happening, which is not in a normal days actually. So that's what my visualization in the current situation right now.
Okay. Thank you so much. Okay, who will go next?
Maybe I'll go next.
Yes,
so, yeah, what I see, Sudipto, is first of all, my definition of my team members have changed significantly. I have humans, and I also have agentic, co-workers who are working equally. So my definition of team members have changed. Typically, if you see from a CFO's perspective, my first 1 hour goes in seeing and looking at a lot of reports today. And I think that my day can start a lot earlier because most of it will be scheduled. So while I commute for work, I can finish a lot of the report seeing for the day very early in the day. And pretty much once I hit office, it is much about I'm challenging the data which I am getting with inside, so that the data is making sense.
rather than trying to draw the data, collate the report, where probably today few hours of my day goes. That's the first change I see. The second change which I see is, I mean, my profile of teammates have changed a lot. Early seats, we can already see that in 2026, where today, like if you look from a CFO's perspective, we just don't have chartered accountants or cost accountants in the team. We have a lot more data scientists, lot more engineers in the team. So the boundaries of I mean, who fits in a function is diluting quite a bit. That's the next thing which I see as a change. The third thing which I see is, I mean, when the external part of my role, which is the analyst and the investors and all, lot of it is getting into the deepers of the house of the business, because everybody has access to all the data. So it's no longer whether it is your data versus my data. Everything is there in the domain. It's more about the house and the depth of the house. And the other thing, I mean, which I also see and which I see happening is a lot more conversations around ESG, climate, carbon neutrality, carbon credit coming in. So these are the top three things I see from my perspective as a CFO.
Fantastic, fantastic, excellent. Okay, so ESG is going to be kind of the thing as we go forward. I have to summarize that last point of yours, right? Great, thanks,
Yes.
Arnab. I noted down the other 2 points. Who will go next?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Satish
I'll
here.
speak.
Okay, yeah, please go ahead.
Okay.
So, Sudipto, first of all, where I would be in terms of physical place, well, I can be anywhere. I can be at my home. I can be maybe sitting in Norway, in Oslo.
I know, but I was just
Yeah.
wondering that you can be logically, but in your
Yeah.
imagination, what came out?
Yeah. So the imagination was that doing this work from home, because I believe that future of work will be hybrid place. There will not be physical presence every time required. Physical presence would be only for exchange of ideas, for interrogation, discussions, deliberations. Also, for more of informal relations, having that a relationship with people, showing your empathy for certain things. So, touch and physical presence will be required, but not on a regular like today's
So
office
you
culture.
imagine yourself at home. Perfect. Okay.
Yeah, and I would be assisted, like Arnab mentioned, assisted by various AI agents. For example, all the reports also which will come to me, I will my assistant, the AI assistant, will be reading out all the reports. In fact, even giving me some suggestions in terms of what should be done on the situation, including prescription for that, and what my skill would be, not in terms of analysis or not in terms of trying to tabulate anything, but in terms of taking the judgments. Even agreeing to what intelligence tools tell me, or disagreeing to that with the logic, and then using that for my discussions and review with my team members. More important things would be that where the organizations don't have that physical interaction many times, the trust, the transparency, the ethics, creativity, innovation in terms of work. These would be important things. That's the way the organizations are likely to change. More of analysis, execution, routine things would be done by various tools. The judgment obviously will have to be exercised by people. So human judgment, critical way of thinking, and that would be the differentiators in the organizations in tomorrow.
Fantastic. Excellent. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Yes,
when you are
Satish.
saying that imagine the things in 2035, so my think is that when I close my eyes, I see like the sci-fi movie kind of thing. So
Okay.
when I get up, there will be a automatic alarm that maybe uh, Siri will be there. She is asking me, get up, it is 6 o'clock kind of thing. I get up, then I see, I just give the order that I need tea. Automatically, let robots are there. They are taking my commands and bringing the tea. Then when I'm going on the treadmill, I'm doing the exercise. I just give the command, tell me what is happening in the world. So entire my wall room is converted it into screen, and it is giving me all the movie means news kind of thing. What is happening? What are the things? At the end, I'm just asking a few things about my office works, meetings. Everything is available. Just the thought is coming in mind. I have to just say verbally, and entire thing is available. I know entire schedule, what I have to do. If there are meetings or customers are there, leaderships meetings are there, or team member, everything is just the click of button. When I am traveling, I might be sitting in the automatic car, no driver. It is taking me to the office, and while going also, lot of things I am doing. I know, suppose there is a meeting, I will get all the reports. I am asking the questions. Like earlier, maybe secretary was there. Now there is no secretary, but agentic AI is there, and all the information is available with me. I don't have to do anything. What I have to do is the analysis part, okay, which agent is not able to do. But certain things like more than 50-60% agent is only doing my thing. I have to ask the right questions, I will get the answers, and all that information, then I am meeting with the clients or I'm meeting with the team. I have to guide them, I have to collaborate with them. And now my team is not only in the office, there is a global team or global customer, and along with agentic AI, everything is happening smoothly. I am having various dashboards. I know what is happening. I may have multiple offices. I might be in the control room in the head office, where I am getting all the informations. I know real time what is happening. If any applications has been developed by someone, it has been pushed into production, or it is under testing, or everything means just imagine, means transparency is there. Then as you rightly earlier said, that trust factors are there. So I am just mentoring the future leader and shaping digital policies, and I'm just ensuring technology creates measurable business value while balancing the human
Fair enough.
innovations, ethics, resilience. And
Fair enough.
that
We'll
is
come
really
to those
fantastic.
details later. I think it's
Yeah.
very interesting. But what really struck me from your point of view, that you reminded me of Johnny Sokko and his flying robots and Star Trek. These are the two, science fictions that we were watching when we were growing up. And the way you described, I really liked it, that it's like a virtual reality, that you are
Yes.
seeing it around you with the screens all around, and whatever we could see that point of time is coming to reality very soon. That's what you are saying, in 10 years time, right?
Yeah.
And if I have to also say that the way you described that, it's basically the robots and the machines are dominating not only the minds of people, even the actions.
Yeah.
Right? That's how you said. Fantastic. On the other hand, if I also see that Arnab talked about that there's going to be a lot of efficiency, because what used to be done by people, by himself, in terms of the analysis, in terms of a lot of reporting, etc., everything will be done by tech or AI, and so that will give him enough time for kind of doing the other sort of work, thinking work, which I think Mr. Nitin also talked about. That is the decision making and the judgment. That's where primarily the human beings are going to use their brain on, and the machine is going to help you on that thing. So productivity and efficiency is going to be hugely impacting our future of work. That's what, as I see, Arnab talked about. You also talked about your role, team, constituency, that will also change, because diversity will come in. Your finance team will no longer be with CAs and MBA finances. There will be a lot of data sciences and other kind of people. And organizations are going to be much more progressive, future oriented. They are going to holistically embrace the world as a whole, humanity as a whole. They are not going to restrict only on profit, revenue, margins, but they are going to talk about environment. They are going to talk about sustainability. They are going to talk about governance, right? That's how Arnab described it. And also, Mr. Nitin, you talked about interesting part, which probably Mr. Nitin brought in, was that there will be a lot of emphasis on the collaboration, on innovation, creativity. So human innate skills, those are going to be of high demand at that point of time, rather than the regular skills which would be typically done by the robots or by machines, right? But last, also, when I look at Ranganathan, I think the way he described that his imagination was, almost like, if I had to say, he was unable to imagine. It's a very chaotic. So today we all, 2012, 13, 14 onwards, we are already talking about the VUCA world. And 2035, it is going to be extremely complex, completely unimaginable future that he was talking about. The way he described it seems that he doesn't know. I mean, he was unable to imagine. It's very, very chaotic, full of chaos. So in that chaos, how are you going to typically talk about collaboration, creativity, innovation? That's also a big challenge I see for the leadership team, because if there is a chaos, leadership has to really rise up to the occasion and see that how they are going to manage that, because these are the things cannot be done by the emotive aspects, which is present in the workplace, cannot be done by the machines on the robot, right? So I think I have an interesting question that is coming up for Ranganath, because the way all of you have described your future of work, but I'll just keep it at the last, because that is probably going to be the most interesting, and it is going to also be quite helpful for all the participants who are here. They're going to benefit a lot from that. But before that, let me capitalize on the huge expertise the other three panelists they have brought in, right? So if I look at Mr. Nitin Parekh, I think he's having about 4 decades of experience, and that even though he's for the last 2 organizations, he's into the life science organizations, but I think he has worked across finance, strategy, legal, IT, in all the leadership positions. And I think you have also worked in textiles, if I'm not wrong,
Yes,
Mr. Nitin.
that's
Right. So I'm sure today we're going to benefit of your experience. And one thing which really struck me was that you are a huge experience in the M&A, merger and acquisition. So my next question is to you. In the fast-changing VUCA world, what kind of pace do you envisage in the coming years in the space of merger and acquisition, right? And I would also like to see that the way I see it, that when M&A happens, typically business, finance, that takes the primary, role in the entire thing. Where is the space for people in the M&A, and how it is going to be different, in let's say 2035 and beyond? Where is it today? How it is going to be? So can you just share your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So first of all, on the pace or speed of M&A, I think the speed is going to be accelerated for a variety of reasons, including technological disruption, AI enabled, the technology acquisition and transformation processes, geopolitical realignment. Every day you find some statement here and there from, President Trump. So the disturbance which is there in geopolitical scenario also is a factor, and various sustainability imperatives which you Arnab mentioned, are going to be important things for M&A. What is going to be differentiator is that today, let's say M&As are for obviously variety of regions, but 2 important regions are also in terms of getting scale and getting synergies or cost and other benefits, right? I think in future it will be more in terms of getting talent, getting technology, getting IP, getting people. So those are going to be the differentiators for tomorrow, and how it will impact people and organizations. So organizations would be, more agile, better, compared to what they are today. But work. there will be a lot of emphasis on cross-functional way of working as a team rather than in a functional organization the way you work. And lot many importance will be given to the culture aspect, the informal relations, the bonding to be created, how the group can or the team can think rather than how the individual gems can work for the organization. That's going to be a major differentiator. It will impact employees in a manner that those who are able to graduate to the next level in terms of adoption of technology, those who are good learners would get benefit of the technology and get adjusted to that. Those who are not able to do that level, would certainly get marginalized. Also, typically what happens in any large M&A transactions, there is some kind of uncertainty involved for people. Who would be there, who would not be there, who would be retained, who would be asked to go. And also, especially happens for finance people, right? People who are acquiring, they say, my finance would handle rather than the company to be acquired. So under those circumstances, creating that kind of transparency, good ethics, good governance, systematic approach, creative way of thinking or problem solving, I think these skills will become important. In any M&A, I think money can help you in acquisition. Only people can help you in making it successful. So how able you are in terms of integrating that, the integration excellence in M&A would be more important than what it is today.
Interesting. But what you talked about, I think those are still relevant in today's days also, isn't it? But
Yeah.
why is it still not happening?
So it's happening even today. It's happening, but today the acquisitions are not so much on terms of technology or digital part or IP part. They're more in terms of scale, physical assets, markets, customers, revenues, cost benefits. So I'm not saying they are not going to be important. They are going to be important, but more important would be in terms of how, for example, the team is in terms of creative way of looking at the business models, new businesses, using technology to solve the problems, including digital technology, including AI. Those things are going to be differentiators.
Okay. Another question I'd like to ask you, typically in your experience, because you have done multiple M&As, what would be your average time frame for a typical mid-size to large-size M&A? From the initiation of the process till share purchase agreement, till transition agreement, what will be the typical average time frame?
Depends on size, but it can be anywhere from 3 to 4 months to maybe 8 to 12 months. Depending on, for example, it's a India centric or it is a global. It does it involve many different countries in terms of acquisition, then the language, the laws, the regulations, the taxation, the regulatory requirements, everything is different. You need to engage international consultants to do due diligence,
that way,
lawyers.
The time frame they talked about is quite aggressive. I mean, sometimes the large scale it will be
That we have
going up
done.
to.
So we have done. So in my tenure only, I have handled more than 20 different deals, including brands, assets, businesses, and companies in India, outside India, in US, in Brazil, in Spain, in UK, various countries we have done acquisitions. But about 8 months time, we are able to close most of the deals. Time normally gets taken, in terms of one commercial negotiation, the due diligence aspect, solving queries, and lawyers. For good reasons, they also take good amount of time. So when the definitive agreements are to be entered into, all reps and warranties onwards to governance and indemnities and these clauses, hours, days and days of discussions and negotiations.
I'm just interrupting, keeping in mind the time. Do you think that is going to be somehow squeezed? The time frame will be reduced in future days?
Yeah. Time frame can be reduced because now more information will be available to you rather than you asking that. Okay. So that will reduce the time. So more time available for judgment. So when the information analysis, everything can be offered to you, at a much faster pace with the help of technology, the decision making can become faster. So that would certainly help.
Okay. Now let me tell you, I think there are few progressive organizations, they do a lot of due diligence in terms of the cultural aspect, people aspect, cultural integration aspect.
Yeah.
But majority of the cases, people takes the back seat. I think they come last in the whole process. Primarily, it is the customer, it is the financial asset, technology. Those due diligence they that they happen fast. So I hear you saying a little bit of contradiction, because one way you're saying there will be a lot of technological this thing happening, but at the same time you are saying that that aspect of people cultural aspect is also going to take a lot of time. So I mean, I just like you to share your thoughts that whether
So
that
one view,
shift is
Sudipta,
going
which
to happen or not.
can be little contrary to what most people think, in the organization, is that you take a view about the culture and you may decide not to integrate.
Hmm.
See, it is not that every time integration is must. You allow some to run the way it is run, and we have also done that same thing in some of our acquisitions abroad, especially where the cultures are vastly different. You don't change people, you don't change the systems, you only give them help in terms of better growth or maybe cost reduction or better synergy. Wherever there is a help required, you give the help. You don't trust upon anything to that. That is the best way to allow them to work in their own way. At the same time, give them guidance and direction rather than decision.
Okay. Fantastic. I think I'm sure, I mean, with the 20 plus M&A deals that you have done, what time is less, whatever brief you could probably talk about, this is going to help the participants here to a great extent in terms of not so many people are privileged to, have that experience of M&A. And with the changing world, the way it is coming up, it is going to take a different shape altogether, as Mr. Nitin Parekh talked about. Now I'll come to Satish Daipore. Satish, you are currently heading the IT infrastructure point of view and otherwise, and you have had a diverse background across different organizations, right? Now, you also worked in Reliance, and as I was about a year ago, I was quite excited when Reliance said they're going to invest about $15 billion on the AI infrastructure. For such a big deal, that point of time was quite, conspicuous, I would say, from an Indian company point of view. Now I was hearing about a few months ago that they are now talking about $110 billion investment on the AI. So now, see, it is not just Reliance, but from the IT point of view, I'm sure you have enough enriching experiences and thoughts. Don't you think that this sort of huge investment the whole world is talking about, is it little premature in terms of the ROI? Or from the practical point of view, how do you think that these are actually making sense on the business?
See, Reliance decision to increase its planned AI infrastructure investment from around US said like 15 billion to maybe 110 billion is far more than the technology investment. It is a strategic investment in India's future digital economy. AI infrastructure is now becoming as a fundamental as a power plants, roads, and telecommunications were in previous decade. See, earlier, if you remember that we had to fill the forms, then after 2 or 3 months we will get that telephone connection. But now it is not. Within 10 minutes, you just go to the stores, you give your Aadhaar things, and mobile numbers can be activated. So that is a thing. Now it has become our part. So in future also, same thing will happen. Organizations will move from experimenting with AI to embedding it into the every core business processes like engineering, manufacturing, supply chain, customer experiences, finance, and decision making. AI will dramatically accelerate this product development, improve operational efficiency, reduce cost, enhance predictive capability, and will entirely create the new AI-enabled business model. So we have to really imagine the thing. See, when internet came into picture, that time the companies who has taken the initiative, now they are become the giant. Like that time we were talking about the e-commerce business because of the internet. Now similarly, AI-based business is coming. And when we are saying such a big investment, it is not just the AI because there is a data center is required, there is a power required, then So there is a lot of collaboration is also required. So we are talking about the 500 gigawatt power generation with the help of the solar panel in the Kutch
Fine. From
area.
IT point of view, good point. So data center is the kind of a backward integration backend for AI.
Yeah.
So is it necessary for the organizations to have their captive data center for optimal uses of AI, or you can use the open source and focus more on the front end than on the back end?
Yeah, again, it will depends upon the size of your company and what you wanted to do. Because see, Reliance is thinking to provide the AI infrastructure to each and every Indian individual. Means that is a vision. It is a very huge vision, correct? But there are company, they might be thinking about their, you can say, business, which might not be so big. So in that case, they can just take the services part. They don't really require the entire backend integration.
Okay, so correct my understanding if I'm wrong. So if an organization, large organization is thinking also data center to be used as a business model
Yeah,
for other organizations, then only it's making sense. So it's a different line of business altogether, which will also help its captive AI infrastructure, right? That's what you are
correct,
talking about.
correct. Yeah.
Right. Okay, so that's a different. Okay, so now how is that going to impact on people? I mean, you talked about it's very exciting from the technology point of view, but how it is going to impact on people?
See, one thing, the cost right now, suppose you have to make any model or you have to rent the GPU, it is very costly. But when the
Mm,
Reliance will come and the
mm,
data centers
mm,
will be
mm,
drastically, this cost will go down. So more
mm.
innovative solutions can be developed by the common people. Now also you had seen YouTube or social media, there are people who are creating the various, you can say, videos or some sort of movie kind of thing, and they are earning crores rupees, correct? So
Mhm.
same thing will happen. So you don't have to become doctor, engineer to earn the money. Even art side students also will have the equal opportunity to earn the money like the engineers and other things. They can really think about the innovative idea, how they can use this technology and bring the things to the people. There can be a small
But even
business
in a
model.
large
Yeah,
organization, conglomerate like Reliance, you said it is going to impact on the cost. So cost is from the business side. The way people will see that, is it going to increase our salary? Is it going to give us more security of the job? Is it going to help me my expenditure reduction? Um, how do you see on that?
see, definitely, because the way we are working now, in future, AI will be your partner. You have to
Hmm,
work along with the AI.
hmm.
There is no competition between the AI and you, but that AI agents are your partner. He is your co-worker. He, like now we are talking of the shadow IT, like that agents will become your shadow, and he will work along with you. So
Fantastic.
particular
So,
task
so what
might be
what you are
taking
saying
8
is
hours.
they
It
are
may
going
be
to
finished in
complement each
10
other.
minutes. Yeah,
Sorry, I'm this time is very less
yeah,
because
yeah.
Faisal is,
uh,
yeah. So I'm saying, so what you are saying, they are going to complement each other. It's
Yes,
not going to have a competition.
yeah,
And with the avenues of these new opportunities will come up, and it will probably provide uh, much more employment generation. That's the kind of
yeah,
a vision that you are
definitely.
having. Okay,
Yes.
great. That's a very positive thing to hear from you, Satish. And I think there are a lot of people, they are quite worried, but the way you explained, I think it gives a breather to a lot of people. Now, I'll probably come back to Arnav. While Satish talked about so much of investment, but from the CFO point of view, financial point of view, how do you actually evaluate the ROI on AI infrastructure? Why I'm talking about the AI, because I think when you guys all imagined lot of things came out, not lot, all the things came out with the AI and the technology, right? That's how you all imagined. So that's why I'm focusing my questions towards that, because if that is going to be the future of work as envisaged by all of you, then let's deliberate that how are you going to deal with that. So how are you going to evaluate the ROI for AI infrastructure, technological infrastructure investment?
See, any ROI is first linked to a business case. So first of all, we need to be clear on what we are trying to solve. So the whole conversation starts from there. Particularly in the case of AI, and in Maruti Suzuki also, we are doing multiple projects. So the way we look at it is we look at it from two basic perspectives. One is, are we looking for a solution which is outside in or inside out? What I mean by that is, if we are looking for an information which is available in the public domain, which we want to use for our business, that's an outside in view. There, you have to keep it asset light because there are a lot of standard solutions available. You can plug into that and go in that direction. But when you are building something which Satish was describing, which is inside out, and most of the manufacturing companies like us will probably look for a solution inside the company. We have plethora of data inside. We have years of, say, vehicle selling history in our case. We have years of service history. If we are looking to capitalize on that kind of a data, that will call for a total architecture thought. So to your question earlier on whether you do a data center or not, like I'll give you a real example rather than a theoretical example. What we are looking at today when we do our business plan, we are looking at a 2035 data plan. That how many petabytes of data will Maruti Suzuki need? And to get to those petabytes of data, what do we need as an infrastructure? So the conversation starts from there. And then you start planning your architecture from there. And then you decide, okay, what has to be financed by debt, what has to be financed by equity, what can be financed by hybrid, what is the kind of return you are looking at. Of course, the ROI is the fundamental thing. So one has to commit a business benefit, and business benefit comes in multiple ways today. Today, the tech conversation, AI is a part of it, is not just linked to what can be done. Everything can be done. It's a question of how much you want to go, because at some stage, and this is my personal view, that regulation will come in. We will have to stop somewhere on the speed. We can't keep going beyond the speed at some point of time. But but we need to be clear on the architecture. The tech architecture needs to be very clear. As Satish rightly said, the scale will be a very important factor. A company of a Reliance or Maruti Suzuki scale will probably plan it differently than a smaller company. So that becomes an important thing. And then you choose your product, you choose your return on investment. See, most of it, if you are not very, kind of way off in your thinking, will have a reasonably fast ROI. So whatever we have done, in the last 2 to 3 years, I have not seen a case where the ROI is going beyond 5-6 years. That's the outer limit. Most of it is paying back in 2 to 3 years. So the decisions are very easy. Now it's a question of how much people disruption you want to do is the limiting factor. And that's where you have to go on a calibrated way. So more than a financial model, it is a strategic and a boardroom discussion. I would summarize it. Even being a CFO, I would say if the decision is not much financial. Financial always makes sense. The decision is more as an organization what you really want to do.
Fair enough. But
So
I feel from
one point on this ROI part, because this whether now people talk about AI, earlier they talk about SAP or S/4HANA or other things. Any such technical, architecture, infrastructure would not have, somewhere you say it's a part of business required, right? At the same time, for example, you don't find out ROI for your, TV at your home or refrigerator at home, correct? You say it's required. By having said so, now let me specifically talk about AI. When we did this exercise, we found that if you are going to invest X rupees in, on a long-term journey of AI, covering all the functions and businesses of the company, maybe you can aspire for 5 times or 10 times the kind of benefit of the investment. Okay, that can work as a thumb rule.
Yeah. No, I think that's a very valid point, and what I also heard from Arnav was that probably Maruti Suzuki is more conservative, probably more rational in terms of linking into the business need in a time frame basis, and that's why saying it will boils down from businesses. But on the other hand, what I hear Satish talking about that Reliance, and they have within few months, they have increased their investment amount from 10 billion, 15 billion to 110 billion, right? So that could be little long-term progressive thought, not knowing purely that how much ROI it will give in what time frame like that. So is that what?
There's a fundamental difference. There's a fundamental difference in both the
Yeah.
cases. In one case, they are looking at it as a product to sell. We are
Yes.
looking at it as an aid to support our business. So there's a
Absolutely.
fundamental
Absolutely.
difference
Yeah.
between the two.
Absolutely.
It's not a
Very good.
question of conservative or not conservative. It's a question of your attitude. I mean, what you want.
Sure.
Really. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
think
the
better way to put it, because it is.
yeah, and investment is not just one time, it is the next 7 years to 10 years.
Hmm.
That is the time frame.
Hmm. So Arnab, I think that gives me another thought. So if you are in a product line or service line business, and particularly in the area where future is little unknown, how would you typically decide on equity or debt, where to put your bet on in terms of the infrastructural investment, AI infrastructure investment?
See, typically in business cases where there is a more defined cash flow is where debt will come in fundamentally, because any debt investor will require a scheduled repayment, and there has to be a more defined cash flow. Where the risk is more, it is more you are taking a bet on something future. There the play of equity increases. This is a fundamental principle of investing. And then there are a lot of hybrids in between. You can use a lot of hybrid solutions in between. It is not just debt and equity, it can be a lot of hybrids. So it will all depend on the case which you are looking at and the fundamentals of which you are looking at, what you are trying to solve. So today, I don't think funding is a challenge for any decent organization. It's a question of what you want to do, what speed you want to go, what direction you want to go. That is more important.
Fantastic.
Absolutely.
Great.
Absolutely.
Great. So now I'll come back to our last panelist. I think, we heard that there are a lot of imaginations going around in our mind, looking at the kind of advancement that is happening in the area of technology, AI, and that is definitely going to impact, the lives of people, right? But also at the same time, the research says that employees are struggling with record high burnout, mental stress, social issues, pressure on reskill and upskill, and a lot of anxiety that's going on. And prediction is that as future of work is going to take reshape, these are also going to increase and aggravate going forward. So at this point of time, what is the role of HR? How do reimagine and reshape your agenda to address these challenges? That's number one. And a question related to that is, I know that a lot of young professionals, they will be looking forward to the advices from these eminent, panelists. So how would you typically advise the young HR professionals particularly to focus on what area of skills to address those challenges? Are they going to be high in demand, or is it are they going to be the nice to have skills? So your thought on that?
Yeah, I think thanks for asking this, Sudipta. By hearing all my co-host panel speakers, I think the kind of pressure, the kind of burnout from employee, its expectations is very high. So keeping this in mind, I think I being a HR leader, I think there are 5 agendas we need to keep in mind very clearly. So one is the first and foremost important thing is that put employee well-being on the business agenda. See, nowadays, if you see the recent past, employees well-being is a HR agenda. Instead of HR agenda, I think the mental health, the flexibility, and the work-life balance which you're talking about today should be the leadership priorities, not from the HR initiative as of now. And number 2 is that I think it's very important. We all need to keep in mind that create a culture of continuous learning. I think the kind of expectations from all the co-panel speakers, from CFO level, from IT level, from business head level, I think by making the reskilling and upskilling is a part of the everyday work. It is not like that, learning has to be embedded into daily work-life culture. Those days are gone. Is not an occasional training, not a classroom training, 2 days training. and how many man days we completed, how many man hours we
How do you
completed. I think,
address the stress, anxiety, burnout?
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Apart from well-being.
See, the burnout one is the most important thing. These are the burnouts actually, unless I can keep, this is the kind of, strategy, HR strategy into people's mind. So people definitely will burn out. You see,
Okay. Very good point. Yes.
That's what I'm trying to say. See, if I don't have the embedded learning culture in day to day, all of a sudden we can come and ask me, Ranga, what is happening? I cannot ask my team members in such a way. So I need to ensure that the embedded working culture in day to day basis, so that people continuously develop the skills. What is required in the business? What is required for the function? Number three, I think most of the people already agreed that you use AI as a responsible. We need to create a culture in such a way AI is nowhere. We need to, shy away from using the AI way. We need to simplify our work culture and reduce the repetitive tasks, because the kind of expectations are there from the business, the personalized employee experience, and while maintaining the transparency in the trust. The fourth most important thing which I'm talking about, they build a human-centric culture. I think, which is where we need to address all the burning issues of the employee-centric. See, managers has to, lead with the empathy, inclusion, and regular continuous feedback and meaningful conversation. I think
how do you convert into the business needs? I'm not saying that everything boils down to business needs and what do you want, right? What's the role of HR to convert that? Because that has been the perennial struggle, right?
Absolutely. See, that's what I'm saying. What I'm trying to say that we need to have the inclusion, number one, the regular feedback system. We need to move out of the annual, appraisal system, quarterly feedback system. We need to have the real-time feedback system, so that there is a room for improvement to the employee, so that I can correct myself. So what is next to order?
But why is it not happening today?
Today expectations are there, but are we building that culture today? Today, honestly, tell me, Sudipto, how many companies moved out of the annual appraisal cycle? Today, we are talking about the technology and adoption, everything. Today, most of the companies are still believing that, annual appraisal culture only. Have you moved out of about the, instead of giving the constructive feedback, real-time feedback? No. We are talking, but are we really implementing? I think HR, that's why I'm saying HR mindset has to change from the real time. Okay. So, and one more important point I want to tell you, because you talked about HR professionals also must master the future skills. One is that AI and digital literacy and adoption and decision making and change management and business acumen. I think these are the kind of very important imperatives HR also need to change to drive the business effectively, as the IT and our finance people are expecting in the conversations.
I know about 5-10 years ago, all the HR professionals were learning Python or, because that was the thing. But the relevance of that in their HR application was very, very little. So I used to tell them that, you do your core job well and leave it to the IT experts in terms of how they will do the R Python, right?
Yeah.
But do you think that while you talked about change management, decision making, that is perennially needed skills. It's not something new. But in the coming days, considering the what research is saying, the core skills which probably HR used to really on very nicely earlier in terms of how do you do the counseling, how do you do the coaching, how do you guide people, how are you more empathetic, particularly when the attention span is going on. Those are the skills will be more relevant for HR even to create an impact in the life of employees and others, rather than learning AI. What is your thought?
Absolutely. See, HR also need to move from the reactive to proactive response. Today, see, most of the things happening reactive mode. There is some issue, HR is getting into solving the problem. Instead of that, can we move from the reactive to proactive kind of approach? So to make that proactive approach, I need to have that right kind of mindset. That's what I said, the change management. And how to use the AI skills, adaptability. See, today, introducing technology is very easy. We'll invest money and we'll get the technology. But how many companies are really adopting and ensuring that 100% usage of the employee? And is the employee seeing any value out of this technology usage? So who will curate this entire the culture change management? The HR has to be a catalyst. He has to walk through that. He has to run through that.
Change management. I'm talking about some of the individual skill of coaching, counseling, uh, empathizing. What would happen to those human skills? Listening.
Yes.
Those are declining day by day.
That's what I mentioned, Sudipto. Even today, every line manager has to be display the emotional intelligence. It is not like that, employee issues resolved by only the HR people. The line managers also has to play a very vital role in terms of the employee counseling, in terms of the employee coaching, in terms of the giving the constructive feedback, in terms of understanding the emotions.
So that's why I think another important skill that would be requiring is influencing skill and facilitating skill, right? How do you facilitate? How do you influence? Because if line managers, the ripple effect to get it, that's the kind of a core skills employee should do rather than focusing more on the AI skill. I mean, that's my thought, being an HR professional also. Fair enough. And I think Arnav has to go. You have another 2 to 3 minutes. But one very interesting question that has come up from Shreya Mishra, that as you see that, there is going to be multi-generational workforce in the organizations going forward. So in that sense, 2 questions I have it from Shreya's, kind of a prompt. One is that, which she already mentioned, that how are you going to collaborate across multi-generational workforce in the organization in the context of so much of focus on technology. Second thing, what I'm talking about, that while we look at the multi-generational, there are people who are from baby boomers, Generation X, they are 50 plus. How are they going to cope with this change that is coming up, with the technological advancement that is happening up? So how would probably an organization or maybe HR will ensure that they are not getting redundant, because at that point of time probably their learning ability also goes down. So what are the things do you think they can do in terms of taking care of that set of employees who are 50 plus with a low learning ability and with the new technological advancement coming up? So there are 2 things.
I think,
Anybody can answer?
Yeah, I think since I have to go, I'll probably quickly give my thoughts. So I think, in my view, the more structural solution is more a project-based kind of an engagement, and HR should facilitate that. See, slowly the boundaries of a particular function, whether it's an HR or manufacturing or finance, with technology, it is going to dilute. I mean, there will be a lot of overlaps which will come in because information is easily available. See, why these boundaries came? Because we all held to some kind of knowledge. Now knowledge is going to get free. It is available in the public domain. If you have the right inquisitiveness to ask a question, you will get the answer. So this also takes us to, which is a topic of a different debate, that how should our educational system be for tomorrow, so that people are coming with that right kind of a education to survive in the world of tech. But that's a topic for a different day. But to Shreya's question, I think a lot of project-based organization diluting hierarchy, and that's where HR's role will come. So when you do in a project base, you are all equals. You are not limited by hierarchy. And the final point from my side would be, see, mindset is the key in this one. Does a 50 plus person has an attitude to unlearn, or does the person think that you know everything? I mean, all of us have, or many of us are 50 plus here in this panel. So how do you deal with your children now who are in their 20s, other things? The default thing is you don't know anything, and you are accepting that, and you are relearning at home. Why not at work? I would rest my case there.
Absolutely.
Very true. Okay. But I fully agree. Thank you very much, Arnav.
Thank you.
And thank you for your time and presence. I know you have to go a little early, and of course we have another 2 minutes to conclude these as well. So Ranganath was trying to address another
point here. What Arnav just now mentioned, there's like I'm 65, but I say my age to everybody is 24. And that's the way I work. And I learn from various people I meet, including my children, my son, my daughter-in-law, my daughter. I learn from all of them. And the same thing people need to do in the organizations. What is some large organizations already been doing is called reverse mentorship, where senior learns from juniors. This young generation people who have a lot of ideas, who are understand the technology, who understand AI, who want to work fast, who have digital, a strong background. So you learn the technology from them and you tell them about your experience, your wisdom, your prudence, or experience of learning. And so that is transmitted to them. And they then utilize with the technology how those two things can be fusion together to make a good outcome for the organization. The secondly, when this new generation is coming in terms of collaboration and working together, would require some kind of flexibility at work. Most large organizations are still working on the physical presence mode, not hybrid culture. Also, working hours are fixed, so there is a lot of flexibility required. The way the young organization is used to, right? When young people are used to 5-day week, flexible working
Your
hours.
point taken. The paucity of time. I'm just saying that you talked about reverse mentoring as well as providing freedom. I think reverse mentoring will in turn provide that kind of impetus towards making the workplace more flexible. That's fine. But the question which I'm going to the point I'm going to talk to Ranganathan, that organizations we are not talking about only the senior leadership in terms of their learning ability or their attitude. It's all about at the lowest level, probably there will be workmen, right? They are 50 plus. At this point of time, they don't need probably reverse mentoring, but their capability as such in terms of the learning ability and attitude is less. But the workplace context is changing in such a manner that they need to learn a lot of technologies. So they are extremely stressed. They're thinking of losing the job. And that's what is happening in the IT sector also. You see that there are after 50, how many employees are there, and below 50, how many employees are there? Had that been so easy, then you would have had equal representation. It is not. So on that point of view, Ranganathan, if you have any thought.
See, I think, as you rightly mentioned, the 50 people, how they need to cope up on this kind of requirement of the organization. I think, one important aspect which I implemented, I just want to share with the collaborative approach. Number one, the cross-functional team. The cross-functional team in the sense, combination of...
Which already Arnab talked about. Any other points?
So now what I'm not a collaboration, cross-functional confidence building projects, which I'm talking about all 4 generation people part of the discussion, instead of, having the functional discussions. Now, if you have the Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z, millennial part of the 4-member team, so then the people who lead the team, people who can share their ideas very expressively, I think that's where you can able to create that learning agility among the team.
I think that's a similar point Arnab talked about. Is there any other points do you think that how would HR take care of these employees? Any other thoughts in terms of the realigning their jobs, giving them different opportunities, or maybe in terms of working with them in terms of the softer skills that you talked about? HR should spend more time on them. Any thoughts on those sides, if you have?
See, I'm having one point on this. See, every time we are asking to the HR, but according to me, HR is not only the responsible for this. Each and every leader in the organization and each and every employee in that organizations are responsible. No one is going to create the career for you. Right. If I am a person and I want the acceleration in the career, I have to put efforts myself. Now I am also the 55, but I had taken the admission in IIM Visakhapatnam to complete the Chief Digital Artificial Intelligence Officer course. It is a 1-year course. Sundays, we are having 3 to 6 classes for entire 1 year. But yes, it is a new thing. I feel we are not aware of this thing. I must join that. I must learn that. Otherwise, you don't have to blame that company has been removed you from their organization. Why company is removing if you are providing proper things? Because of that company is earning. See, if we are also keeping the people.
You are right, Satish. I think that's what Nitin also talked about, others talked about, that we have to have that learning agility and that that curiosity or whatever. But the problem which comes to leadership or the HR is when a set of employees are not capable of that and they are not able to do that. How do you deal with them? It is not about what those who are doing good. We have to look at that. But what we are not doing good, how can we help them out? That was the point. But anyway, I think that's a larger discussion. And with that note, since we are already 4 past 4, I think we have had a fantastic discussion, and thank you for all your thoughts. Unlike many other panel discussions where I see it's a kind of a monotonous discussion, here I saw that a lot of thought process came in. People gave their views, and it was not restricted to one area. All of you are able to put in your different functional expertise, and we really didn't receive much questions from the audience. So whatever role relevant that was there, we tried to address that as well. Thank you very much, and
Thank
over
you.
to Faisal.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sudipto, for leading today's discussion with such energy and ease. Your thoughtful questions brought out valuable insights from the panel. Thank you to all our esteemed panelists. Your perspectives added tremendous value for today's discussion. For those eager to learn and grow, the recording of today's session is available on our YouTube link shared in the chat window. Thank you to all our participants for being part of the session. Your presence made the discussion even more meaningful. We look forward to welcoming you to our next session on the topic, the rise of the AI native employee, how a new generation of talent is reshaping the future of work on August 6, 2026. With that, we conclude today's webinar. Thank you for being part of this journey. Take care and farewell for now. Thank you,
Thank you.
Sudipto.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Satish. Thank you, Raghunath. Thank you, Nitin.
Thank you.